Hey everybody to the fourth episode of The Name Sisters. I'm Alexia May, and everybody is with us today. Elena, Amelia, Kristen, Rebe, Ren, and Megan. And I'm so excited, not only because it's scarf season again and because pumpkin spice lattes are back, but we have a really fun episode for you today. And I also wanted to say quickly, there is another gal in the name community. Her name is Kelly, and she's at thenamefreak.com. And last week she published an ebook it's called Namealytics, and it's basically a whole book of name analytics for the top names from the time they started doing it in the 1800s to now. And it's a very fun book, and I'm so super excited for her. This is so big. So, on to our show. I'm not wearing our hat, but I am so excited to talk about this show. We're going to be talking about how to honor family and things that are special to us for the next generation. So we have 7 ways that we're each going to talk about that you could honor somebody and not necessarily have to use their name. So to start us off, we have Rebe.
Okay, so I have virtue names to honor someone, and how you would use a virtue name is basically, a virtue name is a positive trait or characteristic that you would want to honor that person with. So some you are probably aware of are faith or grace, because those are really popular. I'm sure you've heard those. Or you could use the name Felix for somebody who is happy, or somebody that was extremely lucky, because that's what Felix means. Also, you could use the word or the name Justice for somebody who like always wanted to do the right thing. Or you could go even farther out there and use a name like Clarity for somebody maybe who always gave you good advice and made things really clear for you, and just like kind of made the way clear. Yeah, so those are all my examples.
Yeah, those are really good. Yeah, I think Justice was a great example, and even one of my favorite names are Blythe. If somebody was very happy or made you happy, I think Blythe would be a cute name to use.
I love the name Felicity. That's another one. It's kind of goes along with Felix. It means happy.
Pretty. Ren.
Hi, I had nicknames, and most people go by nicknames. Well, not most, but a lot of people go by nicknames. I know majority of my family has nicknames, and there are quite a lot of people I would like to honor, and I thought one way you could do that is maybe picking a name that has a nickname as the same person you want to honor. So one person I would honor is my grandmother Anastasia, and she went by Anne. So 2 names I thought that would work would be Annalise and Honora. Both of those names can have the nickname. And another way you can honor nicknames is maybe if they do go by Anastasia, Anne's a possible one, but they might go by like Stasia, and you can pick like a name that has a similar nickname to that. So there's plenty of options out there.
I have a grandma who has always gone by a nickname of her maiden name, which is Fred, and so I've always thought it would be kind of cool to use Winifred to honor my grandma Fred, even though that's not her real name. It's the name that everybody knows her by. So that'd be kind of a unique way to honor somebody.
Cute. That's cute.
Yeah, that is. My grandma's name was Dorcas, and so for obvious reasons, I would never use Dorcas. But everybody called her Dottie, and so I always thought it would be cute for like a nursery to have like polka dots in there for her.
Oh, that's so cute.
Her middle name was May, so probably I have like 8 grandmas with the name May, so it's kind of a no-duh for me. That is a way to honor too, is to just use the name itself. When I was pregnant for Judah, my husband Josiah really wanted to honor his dad, and his dad's name is David. And while I like the name David, it's, I'm in I'm into names. So to me, I didn't want to like use a super popular name. I would have rather used a more obscure name. I just had his heart set on just to use David, and I had suggested, you know, Davis and Davidson and different variations. But to him, it wasn't, for him personally, it wasn't honoring unless he used the name itself. And you know, that's perfectly fine. And I think that's a great place for the middle spot, because for most of their life it'll just be an initial, but to you and to them it will be super, super special because it's just a family name. And you know, like I said before, I like 8 grandmas with May in their name, and a couple of them I was really, really close to. And so even though it's, you know, a very common family name, and May, you know, isn't obscure, it's very common, I would still use it because it's very special to me and it makes me think of good things.
Yeah.
I mean, there's lots of juniors out there who have the same name as their father and their grandfather, or maybe their uncle and their grandfather. I mean, my cousin Thomas, my second cousin Thomas, they named him Thomas, and I think they debated a lot about that, about naming him Thomas, but his grandfather had just passed away the year before, and his name was Thomas, and his uncle's name was Thomas, and his great-grandfather's name was Thomas, and his great-great-grandfather's name was Thomas, and his great-great-great-grandfather's name was Thomas. And Thomas suits him so well. He is the cutest little cherub baby, and Thomas just suits him so well. And it really does sometimes work to have a junior, and you know, it's just the perfect name for him. It really is.
My mom is a junior. Her mother's name's Audrey, and her name's Audrey, and I wish they had named me Audrey because, you know, that would have just been really cool to carry on, because now it's a name that's actually popular and people like it again. So I wish they had named me Audrey.
Yeah.
If they had, would you name your daughter Audrey?
No, because the link's broken now.
Yeah. But I mean, if they had named
Oh,
Audrey.
if they had? Yeah, totally.
That's cool.
Audrey is so pretty. But I feel like there's even compromise too. Like if one partner wants to use an honoring name and you don't, you could still compromise, because I think it was a couple of months ago, Philip DeFranco here on YouTube had a little baby, and he named him Philip DeFranco III. But they all call him Trey for 3, and I thought that was so clever and so neat, because he has the family tradition, but yet he still has a new name to go along with that. So I thought that was really cool.
That's like our mutual friends of all the name sisters here. He has a son named John Edward III, and they call him Jen.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Very good.
That's cool.
I think a lot of mothers end up going by their middle name as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what my mom does. She goes by Lorraine instead of Audrey.
Oh, that's perfect. I actually have 3 generations on my mom's side of people with this first, middle, Joseph Anthony Davila, and they all go by Joe. That's what I told these ladies yesterday. That's kind of funny. 3 generations of Joes.
That is. Elena, what were your names?
For my category, well, my category is variants and similar names, and a variant of a name is just either a nickname form of it or another language's form of it. For instance, my name is Elena, and that's a Slavic form of the name Helen, which is Greek. And the nicknames Nell and Elle and other names like that are variants of it as well, because they're short forms of it. This is my favorite category because I have so many names that I actually do plan on using on a future child, hopefully someday, that fit into this. For instance, I have this picked out for a next son if we are blessed with another son, Arlington. And that is because Arlene is a family name for me. It's my grandma's middle name. It was her mom's first name. And I have other family members that have similar names to it in their middle name spot. My sister had a baby this year, and she used a name that is a variant of lots of names in our family, and that is Eloise. My sister's husband's middle name is Ellis. Both of his grandpa's names were Ellis. My grandma's name is Lois, and then also it gave her the same initials as the dad, and so like that one name Eloise is a variant of so many different family members' names, and I think that was pretty clever of them. And another example of my family of this one would be a variant. This would be an example of using a similar name. If you would like to honor somebody, but you're not super crazy about their name, you can find a similar one to honor them. An example I have is Fern from my husband and me, because he was super close to his grandpa Vern with a V. And I don't care for that name too much, but I did love his grandpa too, and so I think Fern is a really unique but still pretty straightforward way to honor a Vern.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, there's a bunch of Thomases on my dad. That was on my dad's side, but on my mom's side, my grandfather's name was Thomas as well, and his father's name was Thomas, and his father's name was Thomas. There are so many Thomases in my family tree, and the variant of that name that I love is the Scottish form Tavish, and I absolutely love that name as a middle name. Right now, I have the combo Ferdinand Tavish on my favorites list. It's like my second favorite boy's name, and I just think that that would be such a cool way to honor like all the Thomases that I'm related to, from everyone from my little second cousin who I love so much to my mom's dad, who was just he's a concert pianist, and he's just a really interesting man. So there's a lot of Thomases that I'd like to honor, but maybe I would put a spin on it and use Tavish, which is a different movement.
Mm-hmm. You know, another name, this is a very unique category because not too many people can relate to this, but my husband and I are in the process of trying to adopt 3 kids. And a lot of people will either move their child's birth name to the middle name spot or give them a similar name. And we plan on giving the middle name Jude to one of our sons because it's similar to his birth name. And that's going to be really special. I'm really looking forward to that happening someday, hopefully soon.
Sweet.
That's a really nice way to do it too.
Yeah, it's very
classy. That connection.
So Kristen, I know this is your favoriteest fave category. Would you like to share?
Sure. So I am definitely not somebody who likes the idea necessarily of honoring people, especially in the form of being a junior or a third. I just feel like it's unfair to the child for them not to get their own name. And, you know, especially once you're the third, it's like your middle name is the same also as your father, who probably goes by his middle name because then his father has the first name. So to me, it's just like every child deserves to have their own personal name. So when it comes to honoring, I have some other wonderful ways to do it here, which is using the culture and your background instead of those specific names. So, first off, you can pick a name from the culture. Every single country in the world has names that are specific to that language. So, in my personal case, my fiancé is Japanese. So, what we want to do is use some Japanese names, and I am Scottish, so we also want to use Scottish names. So, some examples here. I hope you can see them, just because, there you go. So the Japanese ones, Mitsue is a girl name, and Yoichi is the boy name. And for Scottish names, there's Ailey for a girl and Blaine for a boy. So those are names that come straight from the language, and that's an awesome way to do it. But you don't have to just do that. You can also use names that come from the culture. So, for example, I have 2 examples from the Scottish culture, which are Loch and Isle. Can you see those? Can you?
Not really. Repeat them.
So there's lock. Oh, there you go. L-O-C-H and isle. I-S-L-E. So locks are in abundance over Scotland, and I love nature names. So lake, river, birds' names, tree names, etc. Loch is a wonderful way, and everybody knows that in Scotland there are a lot of lochs. The most famous, obviously, being the Loch Ness, where the Loch Ness monster lives, and isles. Scotland is composed of one, obviously, main country, but then surrounding it all the way around are just a bunch of isles and islands. So isle, instead of using Isla, which is obviously just gaining popularity, I think isle would make a fabulous middle name. And the last way that you can honor using the culture and background instead of somebody's name is a place name from that country. So I've picked 4 names, 1 boy and 1 girl from Japan and 1 boy and 1 girl from Scotland. So what I have here is Airdrie for a girl and Kintyre for a boy, but I like Kintyre for a girl as well. And from Japan, we have Aira and Yoro.
So pretty.
So those are all place names.
Those are place names, yes.
Cool.
But how awesome do they sound as a name on a human that just fully and totally honors your background, your culture, where your people come from? You know, especially like grandparents and stuff. A lot of people, especially in North America, obviously are immigrants. So a lot of people's grandparents come straight from those countries. In the case of me, my mom was born in Scotland. In the case of Michael, his great-grandmother was born in Japan. So it doesn't go back too far. So, you know, without having to use that person's name, you're still fully and completely honoring that culture and the person without having to use their same name, so that your child gets their very own personal and special and meaningful name.
I like it.
One way I kind of did that is I was raised Catholic, and at 15 you have confirmation and you pick a saint's name, and so I chose St. Clare, but I chose the spelling C-L-A-R-E for Clare County in Ireland because I have Irish heritage. So you can do something like that even with just looking at the spelling of places that my family.
Yes, that's wonderful. And
Chris, you and I are going to have to take a trip to Scotland.
Yes. Okay, Amelia and I are convinced that we're like closely related because both of our families.
Related.
Yes, our families both come from Scotland. Just your mom was born there, right?
My mom was born in Eastbourne, England.
Okay, and my mom was born in Aberdeenshire, Scotland. So, but Amelia's family goes back to Scotland like.
My grandfather was born in Scotland.
Yeah. And my pretty much my whole family from my mom's dad and mom's side is from that kind of the middle portion of Scotland too. So we're pretty sure that we're related.
You know what would be a cool Scottish name is Argyll.
Yes, I have that on my list as well. Isn't that cool?
Argyll.
Yeah, I lived on Argyle Street for a while, so that's really cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I think, Megan, you're the last one to give us yours.
Yep, I'm next, then we have Amelia.
Oh, of course. Oh, my goodness. Did I just do that?
That's okay. Okay, I'll take over next. So one way that you can honor a person is through their favorite things or things that you just associate with that person. So, for example, my great-grandmother's house is the home my mom grew up in. It was in our family for over 50 years. It was kind of our family hub. And in front of that house were 2 big magnolia trees. When I think of the name Magnolia or think of magnolias, I think of my family. So that would be one way that I could honor someone, honor that side of the family. But other nature and flower names could work. You know, if your granny had a favorite flower or something like that. Or say you wanted to honor someone, maybe your father was a musician, you could use names like lyric or melody, or there's a whole plethora really of musical names that could tie in. Another way is, my mom is watching, hi mom, she's a big fan of the name Sisters, but she's someone who does not love her first name, for example. So I'd love to honor her, but I don't want to use a name that she doesn't absolutely, love. So finding a name based off of her favorite things or her interests would really be, I think, a perfect way to honor her. One name that I really love is Bennett, like the Bennett sisters, Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice. My mom and I both love literature and love Jane Austen. Also, Bronte or Bronte, depending on the pronunciation for where you are, for the Bronte sisters. So these are two literary ties. Love the novels, love the authors, but also love my mom and think of her and associate her with these. Recently, I met someone who has a little boy named Dylan Thomas, and I used to love this name in high school because I love the poet Dylan Thomas, and she named her son for him. So obviously there are lots of ways that you can honor someone in your family, but you don't have to limit honoring to just people in your family. You can look at your own favorite things, like I said, authors, or you could also honor, an actor that you admire, a political figure, a historic figure. For example, I know a lot of people were moved by the recent passing of Robin Williams, so you can use the name Robin on a boy or a girl to honor him, or kind of going back to a saint or historic political figure would be Mother Teresa, so Robin or Teresa, or variants of these names like Elena was saying earlier could be used. So those are just a couple of ways that you could honor someone using your favorite things or their favorite things.
Yeah.
I love the story about the magnolia trees.
Me too, and Amelia and I are obsessed with the name Magnolia.
Yeah, Chris and I both have that name in our top 10.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so beautiful.
I love flower names. I mean, my name is Tulip by any name. Magnolia, I wish I loved more because I really love that connection. My grandmother used to spray paint magnolia leaves and put them on the fireplace. I mean, I really think of her when I think of that name. So.
I have a grandpa. My grandpa Tom is.
Megan, you are a Megan.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I think she said that Megan can honor Magnolia.
Oh, that's
yeah,
true.
Maggie, or variants of Margaret.
I have a grandpa who loves trees as much as we all love names. He can speak trees. He knows every single name of tree ever. He can recognize any feature of it. And so I honestly have thought before that if I wanted to find a way to honor him, any tree name would be perfect. So I think that would be.
I love tree names.
Yeah, like
tree. Yeah, ash, aspen. Pine even would make a cool middle name. I would say birch, but I think that might, wouldn't be the best. But I do like the name Birch.
I know somebody who named their daughter the middle name Cedar.
Yeah, for a middle, yes.
Or even kind of bouncing off place names, you could do street names. I've thought of the street name of where my grandmother's house was that I mentioned, is using that. So,
yes.
Well, my category is the meaning of the names. So I have, the first name I have is Margaret, and I don't know if a lot of people know that Margaret actually means pearl. So if you had a Grandma Margaret, or maybe your mother's name is Margaret, and you didn't want to use the name Margaret, you could use the name Pearl, either the first name or the middle name spot. Actually, Ozzy Osbourne has a granddaughter named Pearl, and I just think Pearl, it's one of my favorite middle names, especially, and it works really well in the first name spot too. I love gemstone names. I love all gemstone names, but Pearl is really, really precious, and it's not too popular yet, anyways. But I really, really like it. And then another two names that have the same meaning are Theodore and Nathaniel. So if you wanted to honor Theodore, you could use the name Nathaniel, or if you wanted to honor Nathaniel, you could use the name Theodore. They both mean gift of God or heavenly gift. And I know a lot of people love the name Theodore, and a lot of people love the name Nathaniel. Both of these names have been in my top 10 in the past. And then if you wanted to honor an Albert, you could use the name Audrey because they both have meanings that relate to noble. So if you had a Grandpa Albert, you could use the name Audrey. Like Reby said, Audrey is definitely one that people are loving recently. People really seem to be liking the name Audrey. It's in the top 50, top... Is it in the top 20? I'm not sure, but it's getting pretty popular. So those are just some things. But when you're looking up the meaning of a name, I think you should definitely be cautious because some sites don't have the correct meaning. So I would definitely check several websites, and maybe even if you are having a baby, go out and buy a name book, or just go out and look through some name books at a bookstore to double check the meanings, because meanings aren't necessarily right. Behind the Name is definitely, I think, the best website for checking name meanings, but I would double check on several different websites.
Yeah, also be warned too, name books also might not be right as well. So really, if you really are dedicated to the meaning, do the research. Check multiple websites, check multiple books. I mean, you got to be dedicated to this because oftentimes, like, you know, one of the most popular baby name sites, babynames.com. I mean, I absolutely adore the site, but I just find that the meanings just typically are accurate.
But since we're 3 or more, just go to a couple different ones and just confirm it. But Reeby's little boy is named Callum, and Callum means dove. And when she first got pregnant, we were trying to coerce her to name, if she had a little girl, to name her Jemima, because Jemima is dove. But we couldn't get you convinced, Reeby, could we?
No.
I have a kind of interesting example of this because my husband has a grandma that he just absolutely adores. I adore her too, and her name is Nora Lee. And so we've been planning for a few years to use the name Lenora as a middle name. So that's kind of the variant / thing. But then I realized recently, I don't know how I didn't notice this, but Lenora has the exact same meaning as my name. It comes from the same root, which is shining light. Elena and Lenora both mean that. So that I kind of accidentally am honoring myself with that name. But but anyway, yeah, meanings are really amazing. They're cool.
Yeah, they are.
Megan also means pearl, so if you wanted to honor me, you know.
Nice.
There's so many names that mean pearl. We could all honor Megan with a different name.
Yes,
Perfect.
do it.
Since Rebecca's having the next daughter.
Yeah, you better get Pearl in that name, Megan. Or
a question from Twitter. Parker asks, what do you think of Briar Ann and Greer Marie?
I love it so much.
I know.
I want to go. I love them. I love Briar and Greer. Love them.
Mm-hmm. Both have classic middle names. Both have like strong first names ending in R. They go well together.
Yeah, Briar and Greer. Oh my goodness.
I know.
I love them. They're
like
short and spunky, and they sound like they could take on the world.
Greer, what?
I think they're great. I really like Greer, which usually I tend to like more frilly, feminine-sounding girls' names. But these are both strong and feminine, which is kind of neat.
Mm-hmm.
And I really
Rose.
I love the classic middle names with these names because they are so strong. I think it softens them a little bit.
Coolio. Thanks for the question.
And those are beautiful names. I just wanted to share with all of you awesome peeps that as a thank you for watching and supporting us and just, you know, showing us love and support as we continue to grow, because this is what name nerdy people do, of course, we all made free wallpaper for you guys for your desktop or for your Android or your phone, your iPad, and it has, drumroll please, a name quote up top. So it's really fun, and we just wanted to give it to you as a thank you. So you can go and grab it at thenamesisters.com. And remember to like us on Facebook, and if you have any questions, you can chat with us on there. And we just love you guys so much, and we were so excited to share this with you today. Stay tuned for dates for next month's show, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.